I'd like to call this meeting to order. Mary, would you take roll, please?
Yes, I will. Member Olson?
Present.
Member Duffy? Member Maggio? Member Bennett?
Present.
Member Lopez Hernandez?
Present.
Member Makua?
Present.
Member Crowitz?
Present.
Member Kellner?
Present.
Okay.
All right, did everybody get the minutes from the,
Yeah, we have
we have a quorum?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Did everybody get the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes, we
Okay.
did.
And does everybody, does anybody?
Motion to approve.
All right.
Second?
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Meeting minutes are approved. All right, let's get to our first case.
43 Amity Street, Lynn, Massachusetts, parcel number 081588014. Petitioner Andres Giraldo by his attorney Samuel A. Vitale. Vary the provisions of the City of Lynn zone ordinance to allow for the alteration, change, and use of a single-family home in the C5 district to be converted into a two-family home. The subject property has less than the required parking space setbacks, area, and frontage. The property has 40.25 feet of frontage where the zoning ordinance requires 75 feet. The property has 4,216 square feet of area where the
Yes, sir.
zoning ordinance requires 12,000 square feet. The zone ordinance requires that no parking stall shall be located less than 25 feet from the front building wall or 3 feet of a property line. The variance request requires the Zoning Board of Appeals to specifically find that owning to circumstances related to the soil conditions, shape, or topography of such land or structures, and especially affecting such land or structures, but not affecting generally the zoning district in which it is located. A literal enforcement of the provisions of the ordinance would involve substantial hardship, financial or otherwise, to the petitioner, and that desirable relief may be granted without substantial detriment to the public good and without nullifying or substantially derogating from the intent or purpose of such ordinance.
Okay, so we'll hear from
Same life now.
Thank you.
Vitale. Thank you.
I'm Attorney Sam Vitale. With me is Andres, who lives at the property on Amity Street. So let me tell you what this case is about and what it isn't about. It's not about seeking a variance for parking within 25 feet of the front wall of an apartment house because it's not an apartment house. It's not about seeking a variance for the frontage or the lot size because the board here granted that variance to the Housing Authority in 2018. And this is a lot, the Housing Authority engaged in a long-term project to improve the lower Washington Street area. And they did that by acquiring lots. If you're old enough to remember, the lower end of Washington Street had a lot of bars and not much housing. It was across from where they had developed the North Shore Community College. And the Housing Authority made a tremendous investment, including the Gateway Project, which is a high-rise, as it's a partnership between private and public. But they also bought isolated lots. So in 2008 or 9, they bought a couple of lots, of which this is one. This lot has never changed in its size. It's always had 46 feet of frontage. It's always had 4,200 and whatever square feet. So the lot dimensions have never changed. And they also have never been conforming because the lot is in the R5 underlying district, which is a 5-story apartment house would be allowed. But again, part of the development of the area, the Housing Authority worked with others and they created what's called the Sagamore Hill Overlay Corridor. And an overlay means that certain standards that satisfy that district are also imposed on the underlying district, which is the R5. So in an apartment house district, 50 feet of frontage is required. This has 46. These are copies of the variance granted by this board in 2017 to Neighborhood Development Associations, Mr. Gator, to construct a house in the Sagamore Hill Corridor overlay on a lot containing 4,261 square feet with less than the required area of frontage. So those variances were granted by a previous board, and we don't propose changing in many copies of that variance each of you. And the lot size is not changing. The housing authority built and then sold to Andres and his family the building. And the other part of this that you need to be familiar with is that, as I indicated, this is an overlay district. So there are some requirements for the R5 district, and there are some for the overlay district. But in the overlay district, it says the building's going to be a minimum of 2 stories and can't be more than 3. So you saw the building, it's a 3-story building.
Right.
Okay, so they built to the maximum what they could. And the other part of this is that in the overlay district, the Sagamore Hill, lot coverage is allowed to be 70%. This proposal would result in a building that is less than the limit on a single family, which is 30%. So building an addition at the rear, the lot coverage stays within less than 30 feet. So essentially, then why are we here? So we're not here for a variance on frontage, we're not here for a variance on lot size, those were granted, and we're not here for any other dimensional requirements like front setback, rear yard, lot coverage, sideline. So why are we here? We're here because the proposal is, these are the,
Yeah, we have that.
okay.
Yeah.
I gave copies
Sure.
because it's on the, one side's got R5, the other side's got the Sagamore Hill dimensional requirement. So we're really here because when you have a single-family home, and the proposal when the housing authority had it, is they had a garage and then a driveway and spaces, so-called stacked, which is okay for a single family. Andreas wants to build a small addition to the rear, which doesn't change the rear line, doesn't change the lot coverage, utilizes a portion of the garage. So we need to come up with not 2 spaces, but 3. We can get 3 spaces if you looked at Mr. Reed's plan. But in terms of the parking dimension standards that we don't satisfy, I brought copies of that. Not everybody brings the zoning book, but it says that a parking stall shall be 5 feet from any property line or street line. It also does say no parking shall be located less than 25 feet, as you read from the front wall, but then it says of any apartment building. This is not an apartment building. So the relief we need, and what I had filed for, was to allow parking within the 5-foot setback requirement. That's it. So we've got spaces that are 9 by 18, that's the requisite design standard, but we're within 5 feet of the street line or the property. That's the relief that we see. So when I saw the parking plan, and when I saw the proposal, I met with the building commissioner, and he and I had a discussion about what would be, if any, would be needed. And he recalled, and I'll remind the board, of 19 Hood Street, which is a case I brought, and the board voted down, and the land court approved, and I'm going to read you from that decision. It says, here it is undisputed, this is on page 7 of that land court decision. Here it is undisputed that the property has been used as a single-family residential structure and is to be changed to a 2-family residential structure. Single-family, 2-family are both permitted uses. It's further undisputed that this change will not increase the existing lot size and frontage nonconformities. So in these circumstances, it was that individual does not need to obtain a finding under 40A6 or a variance for the proposed change in use, but is rather entitled to a building permit. And this is because in 40A6, which is the state zoning statute, there's an exception for 1 and 2 family dwellings that says you can alter, reconstruct, and build a 1 or a 2 family dwelling, provided you don't increase the nonconformity of the lot size, the frontage, but we are increasing one nonconformity, and that's the parking space 5-foot buffer. We don't meet that. So that is why we're here. If you look at the plans that the architect had drawn, Andres already lives on the second level, and this would put a unit on the first level. It would generate additional income. I think if you've seen the property, it's well maintained. It's in an area where on one side there's 12 units. At the rear, there are 40 units in a multi-story building. But in general, the plan that the Housing Authority had has come to fruition. And the change in Lower Washington Street, Sagamore Street, and Amity Street, and the Sagamore Hill Overlay District has worked. But it worked because they took lots that were undersized and they did what they call infill housing, and they built additional residential units. They sold them to first-time home buyers or people who could qualify, and then they made a substantial investment in a high-rise building called the Gateway Project. So we're here because in order to make the build, even though we have a right to make it a 2-family, we want to satisfy the parking requirement. And the difference in the parking requirement from a 1-family to a 2-family is 1 additional space. And so if you've seen the property, in fact, I believe one of the 2 spaces on the left-hand side, we tried to leave some open area. We also tried to leave it. You'll see there are existing arborvitaes that go along the property line, essentially between this property and the multi-family apartments that provide not only landscaping, but they provide screening of the 2 properties, the one at the side and one at the rear. So overall, I think the impact would be minimal with respect to the change that we see. We've got 3 feet where we need 5 on the side. And so that's the reason that this request is before you. It's not necessary to get a variance to make it a 2-family, since we're not increasing the nonconformity of the lot or the frontage, because, first of all, the lot's always been that size, but secondly, you already granted that variance in 2018. So after I met with Commissioner Donovan, my concern was the size of the addition and whether that would trigger the need to get relief for lot coverage. As it turned out, the lot coverage winds up less than what is the limit on a single-family dwelling, which is 30%. And in this district, you can cover 70% of the lot, but that would leave you with very little space to either have open space or parking. So I think on balance, the proposal is in furtherance of the objective, which was to have people invest in this area of the city, to have people maintain their properties, and to provide affordable housing, all of which, as I say, Mr. Gator and the Housing Authority and Elhan started out to do in 2008. They got here in 2018. I think the Gateway building was finished maybe 2 to 3 years ago. Overall, their objectives are being met, and I think that this would be in furtherance of what the proposal was, which was to have well-maintained residential structures in this area of the city where they had been lacking investment or not well-maintained properties. I'd be glad to answer questions. He's here to say he lives in the property, and he would continue to live in the property.
I have some questions. Several of them. First of all, state building code says a 25-foot space must be maintained because he can't define it, can't put ladders up. I'm only saying because the cars are in the way. So if there's a fire there, how can they help people to get out?
That's the building code. I'm here about the zoning code.
Yeah, I know that, but we have a right to ask some questions.
Oh, no, I'm not saying you don't have a right to ask the question, but my answer is The relief I need is from the zoning
If
code.
I don't get the right answers, I'm not going to go with it.
Well,
Because-
I'm sorry I interrupted you then. I'm just saying that I outlined why the zoning code doesn't pertain. I didn't say the building code didn't pertain.
Right, yeah. Now, there's two missing plans here that we need, and we haven't gotten, so is plans, sectional plans, sections through the building both ways. We don't have them.
I filed the plans that are required by the application.
I'm saying we usually need
We need
that.
an elevation. We don't have the elevation.
Well, again, I brought with me the,
But I'm saying, why can't you supply the board?
No.
oh, yeah, but I'm just saying to you that there's, as you well know, there's a difference between renderings, plans,
No, section,
working drawings, and
section.
but as far as what we filed the plan that showed the existing building, the proposed change, and if you want additional building plans, that's something you're right, I didn't file that because I wasn't required to file a building plan.
Well, you're doing a proposed change that might alter the elevation.
No, I can't alter the elevation.
I thought you're adding something in the back.
Yeah, but I'm not exceeding 36 feet.
But we don't know that. That's what we're asking.
But if I were, I
Yeah.
would need a variance. I didn't ask for a variance,
Yeah.
but,
Mr. Vitale, it's a hard plan to follow.
excuse me?
It's hard to follow the plan that we got. We need sectional plan to understand what's going on.
Well, you need additional plans. As far as
Exactly.
the plans that were provided were done by the architect. They show the interior layout.
First of all, who is the architect of this?
His name is on the bottom of the plan.
I'm sorry, it's over to the left.
I gotta do one up because I can't.
R.S. Fitzgerald.
R.S. Fitzgerald. And so these plans were consistent with what we understood is required. It says that you shall have a plan prepared by a professional engineer and architect. We did, okay? And it says that the floor area, dimensions, you're right, we need to have elevation, but I did not ask.
And these drawings are now stamped. We don't know who R.S. Fitzgerald is. Yeah, it's supposed to be stamped. I think you have the
Site plans.
site plan is stamped by Reed, but this
Yeah.
floor plan is not.
So I can get that, but the elevation, but I think that Mr. Callen's got a question about building materials.
No section, which will help us see the elevation.
It's help us to understand
No, but I
what's
want
in
to know what it is you need. I understand elevation, but I thought you had a different question about,
It's a safety concern.
Yeah.
It's a safety concern. We're concerned with the cars being that close.
Yeah.
The fire department is not going to be able to get ladders in. People are not going to be able to get out. They're
Right.
going to be stuck.
I'd be glad to talk to the fire department, whether they can protect this building. I bet I can bring you a letter that says they can.
But you know something? They will never prove it to me because if that place ever caught on fire, it's a fire trap. I'll tell you right now.
Well, again,
They gotta have a wet sprinkler system.
the state building code requires sprinklers for 3-family dwellings.
But I'm only saying we can require for single-family homes too. Doesn't matter.
I think you should talk to Mr. Donovan about it,
No, I don't.
because the building commissioner determines, there's a Supreme Court case that says in a disagreement between the fire chief and the building commissioner, it is the building commissioner's determination. And he has not determined that sprinklers are required in 1-family or 2-family homes.
Okay, but
But the parking isn't 5 feet away from the house in those requirements.
I'm just telling you, I did meet with him before I brought this. The question about fire protection is whether you could take a state law that says sprinklers are in nightclubs, restaurants, a 3-story or 3-family, whatever, and apply it to a 2-family. I don't think it's ever been done. And if it were done, it's a matter of the building code, not the zoning code. And there is a board called the State Sprinkler Automatic Appeals Board. They make a determination if whether buildings require sprinklers. Many people go in with 3 families and seek relief because the buildings existed as a 3-family before they changed the state law. So the state law on sprinklers governs, no question, every building. But whether it's applicable to to a single-family home or a two-family home, I would suggest that it has not been applied in the city of Lynn that way.
Was a violation of state building code with a plant, they're parked in the front wall area.
Again,
There is the danger in that house.
well, I'm in front of the zoning board of appeals because I was instructed that although I can have this building become a two-family without a variance and get a building permit, if I want to have on-site parking, have 3 spaces, I came up with a parking plan and I'm 2 feet short on the sideline and the street line. So that's the relief I was seeking on the parking standards setback, which I provided. I gave copies to you of the section from the zone ordinance that governs design standards for parking spaces. And when this building was built, it had a driveway with stacked parking, 1, 2, okay? And the Board of Appeals approved that plan back in 2018. I'll go get that plan that was approved by this board in 2018.
But it was stacked. It wasn't like lined up all the way in front of the house. We're worried about safety standards.
I understand.
You know.
No one should compromise on safety,
Yeah.
but there's a difference between compromising and imposing a regulation that this board doesn't have the authority to impose, that while it may exist, if it exists, that day will come when you go to get a building permit. But I would say to you, I thought the question was about like fire-rated walls, which I understand.
Just the elevation, Sam.
All right, that plan I can get you, because it's not it's not near 36 feet, because it's only on the back side.
We need more information.
So I'll be glad to get from the architect a plan that shows the elevations. But I thought there was an additional question
Sure.
about the need for sprinklers, whether you wanted a fire-rated wall. So I don't want to make 2 trips. I want to get whatever it is you
Right,
need.
so maybe
Yeah, but-
we should continue because maybe more people have questions.
Mr. Vitale, they're opinions that you're getting from them, an opinion. Not it should be, it's an opinion, there's a difference.
No, what I'm suggesting to you is
In other
that I
words-
don't seek relief from the building code.
Well, we understand that. We understand what you're saying, all right? I think we heard it, but I think we should move on, trying to see maybe other people have other questions related to maybe what Mr. Callahan is asking for.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know, whether there was something else besides elevation. I understood, maybe I misunderstood. I thought he wanted something about the fire rating on the
Oh,
walls.
section plans.
Okay,
Okay?
with elevations.
It will help, well, yeah, the section will help us identify the
Yeah,
elevation.
it's,
Yeah.
that's kind of a plan you can supply this board with, so they
I
understand.
have a couple of questions,
Right, Mr. Ford?
Yeah,
to the chairman. Existing parking, where's the existing parking? Where is the parking as it currently sits?
There's a garage on that, and there's a driveway, and it's called stack, one behind the other, on the same side, the left side.
Okay. So then, where are the, I'm having a hard time looking at that floor plan, understanding how do you enter the building? So is the garage leaving and no longer having the garage converted to space?
No, the garage is going to be
You can't understand it.
So,
Need a
And that's why, if you look at
So
the
where-
parking spots,
where-
the garage is coming from the front side.
where on that plan does it show the entrance of the building and where on the plot plan does it
Right,
show the
exactly.
ground level? Where is the
We need a lot more information.
Yeah, we need all this information.
Because I see the mudroom in relation,
We can be here all
but
night.
then apparently there's no wall.
Yeah, so, yeah, go into the mud, I'm looking at this first floor, ground floor plan.
Yeah.
I see a doorway into a mudroom with no way to get out of the mudroom. Is it an escape room? I don't know what it
It
is.
says up to the main
You're
level.
looking at the wrong, looking at the ground level, on bottom level,
That's the third page.
third page.
Lower level proposed unit here.
So that's unit 2.
Yeah, so I want to understand, how do you get into the building? I want to see it on the plot plan, but then I want to see the first level, how do you get into the building?
So that,
I can't follow that plan.
Okay.
It does not show.
okay, but when you, well, that's why when if you look at the plot plan that Mr. Reed did, we left the space, you'll see here, that
Can you show me those plans and I'll point out one by
Yeah, what I want to start with, where Mr. Reed showed the parking plan. It's going- You asked where was the current parking? The current parking is 1, 2 here.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's all stacked, one behind the other.
So you have room to stack snow on one side and the other.
Yeah, where are you gonna put snow?
So, yeah, I guess my concern is there, where is the entrance?
Please.
Right. So, and then you have a section, I want to know, I want to see that entrance showing two front entrances showing.
Easy thing.
That's all related to the first floor.
And that's all related to the first floor, we're on the
It
second.
was the second floor. How did we get into the second floor?
And
Well, I think Reed was drawing the footprint of the building.
That's fine. That's in the plot plan. This,
So that's what, so that's it.
so we'll need it from here, from,
That's what I'm
Jared.
trying to determine. So on that, where I have the second unit, is where you want to see that.
I want to see all the doorways in the front.
All the entrances.
Parking, to see how do we get out and where the snow end up.
Okay.
All the primary and secondary entrances, by the way. Yeah.
And
and
my concern is combining,
You know, it shows
right? I'm thinking that's very close.
Yeah.
And I think that needs to go back because if you put snow there, now that covered, it's gonna have to come
Snow
closer
just that
further
day,
than 3
where the
feet
snow
from the
goes.
property line.
Your
Perhaps it's
Victor
sitting
just
on the
mentioned about
sidewalk.
snow, I thought he did. Okay.
So,
He hasn't been
on this one, we want to see
I
the
thought Victor.
relation of these to the block.
Yeah. So, see, right here, you have the doorway coming into a mudroom. Where do you exit that? It's showing an entrance on here, I don't, where's that entrance on the plan?
It's a second entrance.
Yeah, this is for the upstairs. This is the ground level. Come in here, where do you get out?
because the car will be there.
So it's here. So that's why the elevation would show it. So there's no side door here. So this walkway, or this walkway needs to be clear to get in and out. And then looking at the plot plan, I would want to see the fence move back.
Yeah.
Which it was originally,
Yeah.
which it was originally before. I see on imagery that it was before more on the back, so that should
So that,
definitely agree with
yeah, so that area with the lawn area.
It's on the right wing fence?
Yes.
Yeah.
On the right side facing, would be right against the car, so there's no room to put snow. So the car would be straight
I
out.
want to move back how far?
Yeah, okay, so that would be removed, okay.
I'll remove it.
Just so there's a place to put snow.
Yeah.
No place to put it.
All right.
And then to confirm on that, as a follow-up, the fencing that faces, that is along the frontage, that's gonna be taken down.
Right.
So it's actually
Right.
straight, okay.
Yeah, right now, it's a white wooden fence.
Yeah, I mean, they could push back further, but we need room for snow to go.
So,
Fencing frontage taken out.
So just to briefly review what we're looking for, we're looking for a section showing primary and secondary exits. We're looking for you to show snow removal.
Even with,
And did you ask for something else? that
The
I'm not-
fence.
Show the fence bigger.
Yeah.
Section plans.
And
I
then,
said section, I said section.
and then on the plot plan, show, just identify where all the egresses are. So we can follow how you're gonna exit.
Section 2, plans 18 and
You're gonna just walk on the sides or sit there, whatever it is. In front of
plan
them,
like this.
there's another one on the side,
18
just so we understand how you get back.
and delivered to everyone a week before
That,
that.
I don't understand, like, it's, there's 2 parking spots there, but how's that person get out of, you know, these cars? Just understand how you get access.
it's very tight.
They did.
they want to talk to each other, that's why.
Ancient history.
Look at his plans. He left that agreement.
It's ancient.
Put a parallel to the front step. When you put the spaces closer to the street, one space could have been closer to the village. But I think that was, he told me, was the walk, but I haven't checked.
Yeah, well, that walkway is on the left. My question is, why is this car just not, doesn't travel all the way to the back of the house? Is the width not enough?
You're asking about the existing parking?
Right. So, well, you have the arborvitae's.
Yeah, those are there.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So why isn't this, the cars travel all the way to the back?
Because of the width. I think the back, if you look at
Right.
the lot, I think it narrows at that, where the building begins. There's more room towards the front than there is in that corridor to the right.
But what you're showing here is 9 foot, of width of the car. That's like a truck. That's not, that's not like a regular car.
It's more on top. It's gonna be tight.
But certainly doable, right?
And we'll get around the rear corner.
In the back? Okay.
So I got it. You summarized.
Right, so you need a side-to-side section.
I think there might be
front to
additional
back
question.
section Showing primary and secondary
No,
exits.
we good? Okay.
You need to show snow removal, and you need to show the fence.
No, storage.
Yes, snow storage, sorry.
Okay.
And you need to show the fence. Did I miss anything?
Removing the
Mr.
fence.
Vitale, you know what the section
Remove
plan,
the fence.
there's a section plans right through the building,
A section.
both ways.
Yeah.
Front
Do
to
we have a
rear, and
white
side
wooden
to
fence?
side,
Is that the same?
on
fence
an
as the
18 by
frontage?
24
Those are
sheet.
two different things.
18 by 24.
There's two
Yeah,
different
so
fences.
can you,
So-
Mary, he's just, he wants it on an 18 by 24.
18 by 24?
So everyone can read it good.
Okay.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. My eyes.
The frontage fence should be taken out, so.
Right, what about the
The
white
one on
wooden
the-
fence?
Yeah.
And then the other one on the right side of the property should be pushed back.
Push back, that's what I thought, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Get it?
So you have some work to do.
They need about 2 meters.
Do we,
Oh, is it?
They need about 2 meters.
do we have how far back you want to go with that fence?
I would push it back
The
to
property line,
where it
dwelling.
was originally, in 2021, the fences were back, right?
Fences were there, the vinyl fences were stuff that I put into.
This is, you gotta say.
This is where they were before.
Yeah, they need
This is that.
Name and,
that's an occupation.
Sorry,
occupation.
I'm Andre Sheraldo. I'm the owner of the property in question, 43 Amity Street. I bought it in 2018. The vinyl fence that you see here was only positioned on the left side all the way through. And I wanted to get the property, nicer looking, so I put the fences on the side, so that way the area would just look better. So I was talking to Mr. Vitale, I was fine with knocking down the fences, so that way there'd be more parking. I'd lose the money, I don't care, just to make it like possible for the parking situation. But yeah, that's not a problem, moving the fences at all. I'll take the hit if that's what it takes, but it's what it is.
Probably about halfway down.
Yeah,
And I'm sorry, what was your occupation?
Like where I work right now?
Yeah, what?
Oh, like what I work? Sorry.
Yeah.
So I'm a senior operations manager at US Bank. I oversee a certain division there.
Okay. Yeah, it's just for the record, it's up.
So how far do you want that one back?
Halfway along the,
Yeah, probably halfway along the side of the footprint of the house, about halfway down.
Mr. Vitale, I don't think you get all the paperwork together for next meeting. How about the second meeting?
I can't speak for the architects. I
I
mean,
don't know what you're saying.
yeah, I just don't know. Standing here, I don't know the answer to when they could have it.
Let's say it's
April
2
4 or April 18.
What's,
April 18.
excuse me?
April, the first one's on the 4th and the other one's on the 18th.
Yeah, 18.
Today, yeah, it's like, well, it's clear, almost a month. Yeah, I think they could do that.
Which one?
The 18.
Oh, the later one, the latter one.
Okay.
The 18th.
Yeah, I don't want to say the earlier one and then not have it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, yeah, you gotta have a little room there,
You want it 18 by 24 plans?
yes.
So that's like 3-4 weeks.
4 weeks, yeah.
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 And deliver to the week before the meeting, get the members get it, right? So they can read.
Yeah, how many, I don't even remember, do you guys remember reading the rules and regs? How many days before the meeting do we need to get
So you
to?
need about a week before the meeting.
Yeah.
There should be, there should be sufficient if we give.
Yeah, once they get it up on the screen,
Yeah.
the CAD, they can make these changes with the computers.
Yeah.
That's at least that's what they explained to me, but
Yeah. Not when I learned. It was still hands.
they don't really draw them. I mean, yeah.
Mr. Do you have them printed, original You said you increase the size of it.
Yeah.
Oh, again, they varied the dimensions they wanted.
18 by 24.
Yeah, so
I don't care.
when I put a scale on this, this says 21 inches, 21
Yeah,
feet, and the scale says 1 to 4.
Yeah, they-
If I put a scale on it,
Doesn't add up.
Makes so expensive.
I scale.
What's he probably gonna do?
So make sure when the architect draws this, it's got a scale on it, and I put a scale on it, it's measuring what it says. Scale.
That size.
That's a paper size, that's a printing size.
Yeah.
But it should be to scale.
But
Yeah.
if you give it this and I tell them to measure the 1 inch before scale on here, I measured 22 feet. The dimension says 21 feet. So
Mr.
it's not to the scale that it's.
Mr. Vitale, we need a sprinkler plan too. A sprinkler plan. We gotta have that. So
I-
we can,
I don't know if I can get a sprinkler
well,
plan.
yes, you can, because we're telling you to get it.
I understand, but I will ask the architect. But my
They
understanding
can
is,
also provide just a narrative,
excuse me?
a stamped narrative instead of actually drawing it all out. That's also a possibility.
Well, control construction is required on anything other than on 1 or 2 families. In which
I
case
know.
you get an affidavit from the architect.
I know. I understand.
They don't have a big
But
statement.
I'll ask them. I mean, but my understanding is it's by use classification under the state building codes. But I'll ask the architect.
Okay.
Make a motion to continue until the 18th. Anyone else?
April 18th.
Well, I'll have to see if there's anybody opposed first.
Oh, yeah.
The 18th is, April 18th is, it's like school vacation week. It's like right after Patriots Day or whatever, right?
Yeah.
We'll be here.
Oh, I am. I'll be-
All right, any other comments in favor of this? Okay, thank you very much. Anybody here opposed to this? Okay, so do I have a motion from the board?
Yeah, move that they be continued to the 18th of April.
Okay, so we're continuing to the 18th of April, and we're waiting for 2 sections showing snow storage, showing fence moving, and a sprinkler plan.
And fence back
Yeah, fence moving, yes,
and removal.
and removal.
We need a
Do
second.
we need a second on that, you guys?
I'll second it.
Thank you.
And then there's the same side.
And who's on this case?
Can we all?
Mr. Duffy?
Yeah, that's fine.
Mr. Member Duffy, to continue? Member Lopez Hernandez?
Yes, to continue.
Member Makua?
Yes, to continue.
Member Callen?
Yes, to continue.
Member Crowitz?
Yes, to continue.
Okay.
Can't make a motion to adjourn?
No,
No? Oh, yes, we still have, oh, yes.
no.
Thank you so much.
Which one's
So,
it?
yeah.
It's Lakeview.
Thank you, right? What are we doing with that one?
8 Lakeview Avenue.
I'll make a motion to continue.
Indefinite and notify the abutters within 14 days?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, but there's gotta be a closing time.
No, we don't, we already have a letter on file, but the problem is he does not have the plans, and every time the abutters come down here, it's not fair to keep having them come every
They're
meeting.
not ready.
They're not ready, so I told them they could notify us when the plans are ready.
Right.
Then we can do 14 days from there. Is that correct, Lieutenant Lana?
Tell me an architect.
I did make a motion.
Oh, you did? Okay,
Yeah. I'm just waiting for a second.
Second.
thank you. Is everybody okay on that?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
good.
Yeah, all approved.
All right.
Aye. Okay.
Motion to adjourn, and we, to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you very much.